Hello and welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am LaWanna Bradford, your host for this evening. I am the principal of the Bradford Group and founder of the Bradford Group Consulting, and I absolutely love this show. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, whether you're on E360 TV, watching us on YouTube, or on Facebook, what Choose to Challenge is all about, it's about challenging the norms, the systems, the processes, the mindsets that may be impeding us as women from elevating to the best and highest version of ourselves. And we know that it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And what we've done on this platform is we've dedicated the entire month to focus on conversations around mental health and what it means to have a well-balanced mental life. We know that just as we speak confidently and openly with everyone about our physical health, we want to ensure that we challenge ourselves and each other to change the narrative around mental health. We want to get rid of the stigma and the biases that are out there and be very comfortable talking about when things are perhaps tripping us up, because life happens. And we all go through those shifts and those changes that are inevitable, and we can become very resistant to change. But the more we resist, the more challenging it becomes for us in navigating out of that space of the unknown, of uncertainty, and the worst case, if you're in that space of darkness. So I'm excited because I have an amazing guest, Audra Agen, who is going to be joining us. And she's going to tell us a little bit about her story and some things that she has recently faced. But before we bring on Audra, I want to salute our sponsor for the evening, which is Cuddle.
Hi, I'm Ariana, and I want to talk to you today about why people all over America are talking about the Cuddle Me Love body pillow. This pillow is incredible. It's helping people with health issues, whether body aches, anxiety, stress. People are dealing with some serious issues, loneliness, depression, and this is the perfect gift. Get one for yourself today and get one for those you care about. The Cuddle Me Love body pillow. It's the best. I can't imagine sleeping without it. Get yours today.
Cuddle Me Love body pillow. Give you all the snuggies and comfort that you need. But the one thing that I love about the Cuddle Me Love body pillow, Audra, I actually have one, is I used to suffer from migraines. And now that I have that, I don't know if it's just the elevation or whatever, but it's been amazing.
That's good to know, since I'm also a migraine sufferer. So,
Oh,
you never know.
okay, get you a Cuddle Me Love.
Yeah.
Well, Audra, welcome to Choose to Challenge. How's it going?
It's going very well. Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Yes. Well, for those of you who do not know Audra Agen, Audra is a professional, a corporate professional with over 25 years of experience in her professional lane. She is also the founder, host of the international podcast, Women in the Arena. But this time, we are not talking about your business and all the great things you're doing with the podcast. We're kind of taking a spotlight and taking a personal peek into you, into your life, into some of the struggles that you've recently found yourself unexpectedly in, right?
Yeah, the mic is definitely going to be turned today.
Yes. Well, Audra, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your journey, because you had posted something on our Facebook page, and it was a cry for help, to say, hey, I'm in unfamiliar waters. Whoever has experienced this can relate to this. Give me some words of encouragement, guidance. Tell us a little bit about that cry.
Well, at first blush, when I tell you this story, you will think that it's a happy story, and it is one. But then there's unexpected feelings that come up from it. So 2 weeks ago, our youngest daughter graduated from the university. And it was a very happy time. We were very excited. We were very proud. We had this wonderful sense of accomplishment, not just for her, but for us as parents, as a family, that we had successfully raised, educated, and launched both kids out into the world, and they're productive, amazing human beings. And that's all true. And we were very happy. I was very happy. I was thrilled that we had gotten there. But then once all of the fanfare settled down and it became normal again, which didn't take long, an emotion crept in that I just wasn't prepared for. And that was this overwhelming sadness. I felt grief and a loss and couldn't figure out where that was coming from. But all I kept thinking about was, I miss my babies. But my babies are now 21 and 25. And I just kept feeling that miss and that longing, and couldn't figure out how we had gotten there to that point so quickly. And I felt completely ungrounded. I had been in the same role for 25 years, being these kids' active mom in everything they do. And now they're young adults living their own lives. And I felt out of place. And just like I said, the sadness it just caught me off guard, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't know how to get out of it. And I felt weird about it because, what's something that I should be celebrating, and I did celebrate, but something that I should be celebrating, I felt just this heaviness about it.
Yeah, I feel you, and this is just our journey. So one of the things we're talking about is our life in chapters. And it's actually a continuum, even though we'd like to, I think, just for our own ability of understanding the journey, we chapter our lives. But it's really this continuous, beautiful story that we are gifted with. And when I read that, my heart went out to you, because I shared with you that even though I haven't had children, I was there stepping in for my brother and his wife when they were going through their issues. And that step in ended up being almost 5 years of being there for Madison and Mason, where they spent most of their time here. But then when it was time for me to step back, if you will, that was a challenge. And so with you, it's stepping back to allow them to soar, but you're still mom. It's mom, in a very different and beautiful way. And I think a lot of women, Audra, go through changes, but we're not sharing and talking among ourselves to help prepare, our daughters or our friends for what's to come.
No, and I certainly hadn't heard any of my friends or anyone express this weird spot that I was in of, yes, being happy and proud, but also being sad and missing what once was that I know I will never have again in that same capacity. I hadn't heard anybody talk about it. And because I am always asking my client or my guests to be completely vulnerable and authentic on my show, I felt that it was time that I did the same. So I posted on your group, and I just was looking for help. I was looking for anybody to connect with me and say, "Yes, I felt this too. No, you're not weird. This is not all that unique. This is not all that unusual. This is what I I experienced. Maybe this would work for you." Because I hadn't heard any of that. So I put out the cry with "Celebrate You" and said, my beautiful sisters, please step in and give me words of encouragement because that's what I need right now."
And I love that you did that, because that in itself is such a bold move, to be so vulnerable and transparent, because you're a very strong woman. You are a
Mhm.
very independent woman, and to find yourself kind of crippled by these unknown, unfamiliar emotions takes a lot of internal strength to say, okay, I don't know what's going on, but surely someone can give me some guidance, shed some light so I can get out of this journey. But often so many women and men are unable to cry out. They feel embarrassed. They feel that they may be judged, and they suffer in silence. And so, this is also a show about letting people know you're not alone. There's people going through similar experiences. It's not about one being worse than the other, it's just your experience at this point in time. And as you said, you felt very sad. You were missing what was. And even though you celebrate it, you recognize there is a sorrow here. There is a grieving that's going through me, right?
Absolutely. 'Cause and like most people homes, we have pictures of the kids in all their various stages all over the house. And what typically makes me smile when I look at the picture of an amazing memory, was just making me sadder of I miss that little girl. I miss that little boy. And, when I was their whole world, when it was just the 4 of us, meaning my husband and I and the kids, when it was the 4 of us against the world, I was longing for that and missing that and knew that that time had passed in that capacity. I know it'll evolve into something else, even more beautiful. It'll just be different. And I was just having trouble processing that.
I want to just let individuals know that this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this show we're talking and sharing about a personal journey of sorrow, of depression, of grieving. But this show is for infotainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat any issues, mental health challenges that you may be having. But we do encourage anyone who's in this space of, I just don't know what to do, I'm feeling all alone, I'm feeling overwhelmed, to please reach out to NAMI.org, that's NAMI.org, or call the Suicide Prevention Hotline if you're feeling that this dark space is just taking me over. 800-273-8355. That's 800-273-8355. So I want to ask you a question, Audra. When you did cry out, did you get any responses? And if so, were there any particular ones that really just, I guess, impressed upon you, like, wow, I needed to hear this?
Yes, I did get quite a few responses. And what was really evident is that everybody has a different journey, and but everybody could empathize with the space that I was in and was doing the best they could to be supportive of me. But there was one in particular that I just felt as if she knew my heart. Like that she knew not only what the space that I was in, but also what I was going to walk through and what I could expect in the future. And it didn't surprise me because she's a grandmother and she is a mother to everybody. She is your second mother. And she just, as soon as I read it, I felt warm all over. And I think I texted you and told you that I needed a hug from her. It's like I need a hug from her because that's exactly what I wanted at that moment from her, because she, even though she doesn't know me all that well at all, she knew where I was.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And when we take a moment, even in our pain, even in our distress, to just look up, just for a moment, we'll be amazed at who's there. Or it may be a song, or it may be something you see on TV that just gives you that ray of hope, right? And I want to share this with you. I had an experience. So I was diagnosed with cancer several years ago, and I remember just, again, trying to figure it out. Again, this is unknown territory. And I turned on the TV, and I've never seen this show before. I've never seen this individual ever again. But the one thing that the person said, he said, there's people out there that are going through issues in life. And he said, in fact, there's someone that was probably recently diagnosed with cancer. He said, but I just want you to remember one thing. Man's medicine hasn't caught up with God's miracles. So just like your experience, it was something that you specifically needed to hear. You felt it's speaking to my heart, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so I shared that little story with you to say that whatever it was that she shared with you, let that be your anchor as you journey through this, because you're going to bounce back and forth with these emotions for a little bit, and it's okay to feel them, but don't allow them to define you or to consume you, if at all possible, right?
Yeah, I will tell you that it did take a couple of weeks, and I did share with you that I only did the bare minimum, and I did not publish episodes of my show, of my podcast, because that comes from a space of creativity and of joy. And I just didn't have it in me. And I felt as if I couldn't give my authentic full self to that space, because I have an audience that depends on me to be fully present in that space and time. And I felt if I couldn't do that, then I didn't want to give them something that wasn't my best. So I just decided to take a very small, quick break and just work through some emotions and then get back to it. I thought, they'll understand. They'll understand that I just wasn't willing to put something out there that wasn't my best. And I would tell them why. And I told them today, the audience today, why I took a break. It wasn't a very long break, but I did take a break. But now I'm in a space where I can feel creative again, and I let the ideas just flow to me. Normally, I have so many ideas that I have to write them all down, and not all of them are good. Don't get that idea. They're not all good. But I get a lot of them, and for those couple of weeks, nothing was coming. Nothing, absolutely nothing. But now that I'm feeling a little bit better and I'm starting to catch my footing a little bit, then the ideas are definitely starting to flow again. That's when I knew I could step forward.
And you know what I think, just when you were describing that, what came to me is just how amazing our body and mind are, that when it needs to heal, when it needs to rest, when it needs to be rejuvenated, it can start to block things out, right? And it's calling us to pause, right? To pause, to do some self-reflecting. But sometimes we can't do it alone. Sometimes we need a hand up. Sometimes we need someone to just carry us, because it's like I'm just done. I want to share a comment that we just got. It says, "You both are beautiful souls for nurturing the youth for the future. Totally understand some of the sadness, but totally celebrate what you created in your children. Audra Agen, you truly rock. Thank you for sharing to create that you are not alone."
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
And look at where we are right now. We are at the time of a lot of change for women. When you're looking at graduations,
Yep.
are bountiful right now, and we're in wedding season.
Yes,
So
we are.
all the emotions, right, of celebrating, but realizing, our children are going into that next amazing chapter of their lives.
Yes, because not only did our daughter graduate this April, she's engaged. And so she and her fiance are getting married next April. So there was I was processing a lot of emotions. And my son moved across the country this year for his job.
Wow.
And so I was I was processing through a lot. It just hit me all at once, because that graduation, that walking across the stage, and I shared this with you, that it literally felt like a chapter had just slammed shut. And it didn't come on gradually. It was just like wham. And I felt that. I felt the hit.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Audra, we're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll be right back. That's okay.
All right.
One of the things I want to bring up in this video sort of reminded me, when we're talking about breaking the stigma, it's about having those conversations. And there are a lot of stigmas and biases out there about many topics. And I do want to give you a moment to talk a little bit about your amazing platform, Women in the Arena, and why is it so important for you to elevate the voices of women, and how now, and this may be an unfair question, that you've experienced this shift, this awareness of your vulnerability. How will you use that to further impact the lives of your listeners?
Well, first, I'll tell you a little bit about my platform, that for those of you that aren't familiar with it. I created a platform, a podcast, because I wanted to be able to celebrate women. And as I always say, celebrate women doing extraordinary things in plain sight, because we are surrounded by amazing, remarkable, brilliant women that are doing phenomenal things, and nobody knows about them. And that is a crime. And I wanted to know about them. I wanted other people to know about them. So I've been inviting people onto my show and saying, "Tell me your story. Tell me what burns in your soul. Tell me what gets you out of bed every morning. Tell me what you've always wanted to say but never had a safe space to say it." because this is it. This is your safe space. And I will tell you that each and every one of the women that has been on my show has changed me in some way, in ways I didn't expect. This this particular situation is also changing me in ways that I didn't expect. That first of all, I'd never expected feeling sad, but I did. Uh, and what it will do to, or what it has done to change me, is realize that even on a deeper level, that emotions are complex and you can feel many things, many conflicting things all at the same time. And they're all valid. And I will tell you that on my show, when I'm conducting interviews, there is a piece of me that I think that I have held back. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. I have no idea. But I think now that I've experienced this level of vulnerability and this level of emotion, which is why I wanted to post and let everybody know that this is okay. It's okay to feel this, even though it doesn't feel good. I think that whatever barrier it was that was holding me back, I think this has helped me push through. And I can empathize even more so with the guests that are on my show when they're telling me something that's incredibly tender and very raw. I think that I can feel a little bit more of it right now that I've experienced this. Because, as you said, I'm a strong woman. I'm a determined woman. This was weird. This is weird. It's weird for me, but it's something that I can feel and now understand that there's a bunch of strong, amazing, incredible women out there that also feel these strange and surprising emotions as well.
Sometimes our life takes different turns, and we may be motivated by passions, by a calling. But then there comes an appointed time when we see the greater reason as to why it's there. So, looking at your podcast, Women in the Arena, you saw something that was missing. You wanted to be that platform to magnify the voice. Now that you're starting this new chapter, that you're venturing into the unknown,
right.
How do you see your platform helping to give you the strength that you need to move forward even more so as this bold, dynamic woman that you are?
Wow. I think I understand myself a little bit better, that I don't have to be strong all the time. I don't. And I don't have to be happy all the time, or I don't have to constantly be a driver all the time. Sometimes I can just sit in the space and process it. And I think that makes my platform that much more special, because there may be some of my guests that are sitting in a space and I want to consider it as a sacred space if they invite me into it, that they're sitting in a space that is vulnerable for them, is something that they have decided to pause on and work through during that space. There's a lot of women like me that drive themselves and never have thought that it was okay to pause, take a break, not drive for a period of time. I think that there's a lot of us that didn't think that was okay. And now I recognize and realize that it is okay, and maybe sometimes even necessary, because in this time, this case, I couldn't push through. I couldn't. My brain just wouldn't let me. My emotions wouldn't let me. And I had to get okay with that. And I'm okay with that, sort of. I'm a work in progress.
There's nothing wrong with that. Well, Audra, we are almost out of time. And before we go, I'm going to take myself down And I would like you to just leave our listening audience with any words of encouragement that you're able to give at this time to those who may be dealing with change in any form. It may not be children, but change in any form, and however you're led, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
All right.
So I wanted to tell all of you that change is scary and it's usually painful. But I can guarantee you, you are not alone in this change. There's likely someone else out there that it is experiencing it or has experienced it, that if you're willing to open up just a little bit, you'd be surprised how many people are willing to come alongside you and just prop you up just a little and be willing to just sit with you in that space. It will shock you on how many people are willing to just be and be with you there. I will say that don't hold it in. Definitely don't hold it in. It's not healthy. Let people know and take a break. You're allowed to take a break. We put so much on ourselves as women. You are allowed a moment to process through your emotions and rest. You can conquer the world tomorrow, but today you can rest. And if you need encouragement, send your comments my way, because I may not have all the answers, but I do have words of encouragement, because I know no matter what, you're all remarkable and you're all amazing, and I'm rooting for each and every one of you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Audra. Here's her contact information below at audra@womeninthearena.net. Again, audra@womeninthearena.net. If you like to follow the work that she's doing, please check out her amazing platform. I love every episode that I'm able to catch. But also, if you just want to talk, share where you're going, what's going on in your life, she's willing to be a listening ear.
I am, because everybody's fascinating and everybody deserves that opportunity to tell the world how amazing they are.
Yes. Well, Audra, thank you so much for joining me again on Choose to Challenge. I know you were in the hot seat, but you were amazing. And thank you for being willing to share your story. I believe that it is going to be a source of help and inspiration and hope for many people who are going to be watching this on all of our platforms. And to our listening audience, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Choose to Challenge. And just remember that you matter. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be in this journey of unknown. But just remember, you're not alone. You don't have to sit in the sorrow by yourself. There are individuals that understand, that get it, and that are there to help you. And we just encourage you to, again, reach out for support wherever you need. And just remember that when life and your vision and opportunity intersect, success is inevitable. You're all beautiful beings. Thank you so much again, Audra.
Thank you.
And until next time, we'll see you next week on another episode of Choose to Challenge.